one question that I get asked a lot is, where can I go to register for the CMA exam? So let's start with that question, and then we'll see how this whole thing evolves, okay? So where can I go to register for the CMA exam is a question I get asked quite a bit. The answer to that is, first, you need to get your CMA entrance fee. You need to pay for it, and you pay to the IMA directly. And you need to pay for your exam registration. Once you do that, you gotta then they'll give you a code, an authorization code that you use on Prometric's website. And there's where you go to book your exam date, okay? So you register on IMA's website, and then they'll give an authorization number, which you then take and use it on Prometrics to book your actual exam date. So that's kind of how the process works. I wanted to go over that with you guys real quick because I know there's a little bit of confusion around that. So I hope that cleared it or clarified that question. But if you have any questions around that, please let me know. You're more than welcome to use the chat box. Let's see, how are we doing here? So far, so good. Let me go on Instagram to see their questions. All right. Okay. So do IMA's website and then Prometric. Okay. So if you are joining me from, I don't know, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, maybe YouTube, there is a cheat sheet that you guys can download for free. All you got to do is enter your email address and it'll be sent to you. The link is going to be in the description above this video or below it. I'm not sure, but you can look for it later. And once we finish the live call, I highly encourage you to go get that cheat sheet because it's free and it's packed with a lot of good tips and strategies to help you pass the exam. All right. So do we have any questions for me today? I'm here to hang out with you guys for 1 hour. So right now it's 12 p.m. Pacific, and we'll be wrapping this up by 1 p.m. But I just wanted to, spend an hour with you here to see how things go and answer any questions that you guys may have. I had a call like this. I went live on, I think it was Wednesday night, and it was jam-packed. So it was pretty cool. So I may try to do one in the evening as well, just to, make sure that everyone has the opportunity to chat with me and ask questions. I know that, because the CMA is a global designation, there are people from all over the world who are taking the exam. So time zones are definitely a factor. So Nick is asking a great question. So Nick is asking, does your textbook have practice questions in the book? The answer is no. The textbooks do not have practice questions. We do have our online test bank that is packed with thousands of practice questions that you can use. And what I advise people to do is that to prepare for this exam, it's super that you use an online test bank because your actual exam is going to be computerized. You're not going to be solving on a piece of paper. I mean, you might, but you have to enter your answers in the computer. So it's better to get used to that format so that when you go and take your exam, it's second nature to you. You've done it for months during your test prep, so that's the best way to go about it. Here we go. I don't know your name, but thank you for the chat. He says, love and respect from Pakistan. That's awesome. Dear Sir Nathan Liao, I am your fan, but I'm a security guard dreaming to do CMA. Hey, thank you for being here. This is awesome. I think I remember emailing with you, right? I think we've exchanged a couple of emails back and forth. I'm happy to help. I have a ton of free content on YouTube, on my blog, my podcast. Now this live stream, you guys are and help you during this process. And we can talk about CMA, we can talk about career, we can talk about anything. I'm here to help you guys out. But thank you for tuning in. It's great to see you. All right, let me check on Instagram if there are any questions. If you are listening this from the podcast, I go live every Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific. So if you are not following me on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, please subscribe. That way you'll get notified when I go live, and we can interact live when I'm live. Okay, so we have a question from Instagram. This is from Susan. Susan, a big shout out to you. Thank you for tuning in. Her question is, should we give part 1 or part 2? Oh, hey, Nav from Toronto. Hey, so this is what I recommend, and I get this question a lot. This is a question that I asked the IMA directly before during a podcast interview, so I have a good answer for you guys. If your major is in accounting, go for part 1, okay? If your major is in accounting, go for part 1. If your major is in finance or economics, go for part 2. So that's how I will gauge it. Now, if you don't have neither of those degrees and you have some other degree and you're not sure which way to go, what I would suggest you do is look at the content outline of each part and determine which content outline seems more interesting. Which one seems like could be the most engaging for you? Because the key with passing both exams is to gain momentum. Once you pass one exam, you're going to be on a very good schedule from a studying perspective, and 2, you have momentum, so that will help you tackle the second part. And I think that's one of the reasons why part 2 has a higher pass rate, because most accountants, we follow things in order. So we will go with part 1 first, just because it's part 1. And then we go for part 2 second. And because most will have already gained momentum with part 1, then part 2 seems a little easier, in quotes, because there's a higher pass rate, but it doesn't mean it's easier. Okay, so on the flip side, if you start with part 2 and you pass part 2, you will have momentum and you will be already on a routine. So it will be easier for you to tackle part 1. So I hope that makes sense, but it can go either way. All right. Here, let me make sure that I've got everybody. Yeah, for some reason we're not connecting on YouTube, but that's okay. I'll do another one later there. But let me do this actually. Sorry, guys, we got a technical difficulty now, and we should be good to go. Okay, so that was a great question, Nav. Thank you. So I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, leave me another comment on Instagram. All right, so here we have another question. Thank you for the chat. It says, hello, Nathan. What is your general study method suggestion for first timers? Oh, Maria. Hi, Maria. Thank you for tuning in. The study method that I suggest, well, it's a whole framework, but I'll distill it for you right now. And this is for everybody else who's not sure about how to study for the exam. First, we need to talk about how long is it going to take you to study each part. Okay, so the sweet spot is 4 months. But this is for people who are working full-time and studying part-time. If you can study full-time, you can finish it within 2 months. But because the majority of people have a full-time job and they are studying at nights and weekends, so part-time, then 4 months is the sweet spot. That's the good amount of time that you'll need to prepare and pass both parts, or a single part. So you got to study 4 months for part 1 and then 4 months for part 2. So that's 1. 2, I have a video on YouTube. Please check it out after this and look it up on my YouTube channel. You can search by CMA Coach, and I'll be the first one that shows up on the search results. And look for a video called Best Study Technique for the CMA Exam. This technique is called SQ3R. I'm not going to dive deep into it right now, but it's a technique that has been proven scientifically in studies that will help you retain at least 80% or more of what you're studying. Isn't that amazing, guys? 80%, very thick, and there's a lot of information that you have to learn. So imagine using a study technique that will help you remember 80% or more of what you study. I think it's a phenomenal study technique. I've used it when I was preparing for the exam. It helped me pass on my first try. A lot of my students are using it too, and they've told me that Yes, at first it's a bit hard to apply because it takes time, it takes effort, but the more you use it, the easier and faster it gets. Okay, so it's like learning how to ride a bicycle. It's going to be a little bit hard at first. It may be a little frustrating because you're going too slow when you feel like you want to go fast. But just remember that the more you do it, the more you ride that bike, the faster and easier it gets. So the same thing applies with this study technique, SQ3R. So when you apply it, it'll be a little frustrating. You're going to be going a little slow. It's going to slow down your study process for the first couple days. And you'll see that over time, when you try to remember what you were studying before, it's going to come back to you really fast, and you'll see the benefit. And I think that's when you'll be sold on that study technique. But I will do that. So 4 months, SQ3R. It's important that number 3, the third thing I will suggest you guys do is read your textbook, go topic by topic. When you finish a section, take a practice exam. Use your online test bank. If you do not have an online test bank, hit me up. I'll hook you up with one, I'll give you a discount or whatever. I have one on my website. If you have one, great, use that. And take a practice exam after every section. Super important because you have to apply what you're learning. And when you take a practice exam, A, you get familiar with MCQs and their format, and 2, you get to apply what you're learning. So I would definitely recommend that you do that. Question, thank you. All right, so let's go back to, let's see, we got a lot of questions today. This is fantastic. Here we have another question from Abdul. Abdul, thank you. So Abdul is asking, what is the total score required for to pass the CMA? So the scoring system goes from 0 to 500. 500 is perfect score. 0 is the worst score you can get. The passing score is 360. Okay, so that's your answer. There you go. Boom. Love it. Let's see, next question. Guys, by the way, thank you for tuning in today. This is great. I love spending time with you. And I know you guys have a lot of things you could be doing right now, but I appreciate that you're here with me today. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so we have a question right here from Mary Rose. Hi, Mary Rose. How you doing? Glad to connect with you. Says, hi, Nathan. I gave my part 2 exam, but did not pass. She was not able to finish it on time. Well, the rest of the question doesn't show on the screen, but the rest of the question is it possible to get more practice questions? Great question, Mary Rose. So I'm going to remove that from the screen. So Mary Rose, I think that, but first, if you have a test bank, then I would suggest that you use that first. If you didn't, sounds like you didn't finish your part 2 exam because you ran out of time. So it's not about getting more practice questions that will help you pass the second time around. It's about speed. And speed, the best way to do that is to time yourself. So if you want to take a 25 MCQ practice exam, time yourself, right? 25, try to finish it as fast as you can. Let's say it takes you an hour. Fine, that's fine. And then take it again, but try to beat the time. So it's a race. Obviously, it's going to feel a little stressful. You may feel a little anxiety because now you have the pressure of time, but that's the only way to get faster. You have to really commit to finishing MCQs fast. You have to answer 100 MCQs within 3 hours in your actual exam. So if you don't practice speed during your test prep, speed is not going to happen in your actual exam. You may actually be so stressed out about it that your speed may go down. And we don't want that, right? So the best way to choose 25, I prefer, and my students use 50 questions in their practice exams. And their goal is to finish those 50 questions within 1.5 hours, 1.5 hours, right? Because in the actual exam, as you guys know, is 3 hours long for the MCQ section, and you have 100 questions. So if you cut it in half, 50 questions, you got to finish it in 1 hour and a half. So Mary Rose, my suggestion is to do that. You do not need more practice questions because that's not the issue, right? The issue is that you couldn't finish your exam on time, and that's why you failed. But kudos to you for committing to taking it again. There's a lot of people who, after they fail the first time, they give up. And I think that's a disservice to themselves because A, they've spent so much time studying already, and B, they are a lot closer to passing than they realize. But because they feel they allow negative self-talk to creep in, then they just give up altogether when they were like super close to passing. So the same to you, Mary Rose. So kudos to you for committing to taking your exam again. Sounds like I said, it's a speed issue, and you can work on this. This is 100% in your control. So take a practice exams with 50 questions and try to finish that within 1.5 hours. If you're not able to the first time, that's okay. It's part of the process. Take it again the next day. I wouldn't suggest to take it back to back because you will feel very tired. So take one, let's say, if you can take one in the morning, take it, and then take another one in the evening or mid-afternoon or something. But give yourself a break. Don't take it back to back because you will feel tired, and that will also impact your performance. So 50 question practice exam, 1.5 hours. Take it as many times as you need until all that. It's a good indication that your speed went up by a lot. So Mary Rose, that's my answer. I hope that was helpful. And for those of you who are planning to retake your exam and you are in the same situation where your exam just ended because you didn't finish it on time, this is a great tip that I think will absolutely make a big difference during your retake. Here we have another question. This is from Nick. Nick, thank you for your question. He's asking, does your CMA program, in other words, CMA Exam Academy, have a self-learning component? With my schedule with full-time work and family, I can't commit to class setting. Great question, Nick. So CMA Exam Academy is designed based on the framework that I created for myself. Studied, that was the only option around, and I had to figure out what was the best way to set myself up for success. So once I passed the exams on my first try, I built the academy around the framework. Right now is a 16-week program where you follow it's a weekly guided program. It's like a college class online. It's just a virtual college class. You go to class, you watch the video lectures, you do your reading assignments, there are quizzes, and then you have assignments that you have to finish and turn into me and to my team for review. If you don't turn it in, just like back in college, as your professor, I'm going to follow up with you. Be like, hey, Nick, what's going on? What happened to your assignment? And then we'll go back and forth via email until you finish it. If you need help, we are here to help you. We've provided assistance with the textbook, with MCQs, whatever you need help with. Okay, so that's how the program works because that's how we built it, and it's super effective. Now, I have students actually want to go at a faster pace, so we can accommodate that. They will finish 2 modules within 1 week, and that's totally fine. If they have the time to do it, great. So they'll just communicate with me and let me know that they're going at a faster pace. So then I adjust their program on my end so that we are on the same page. So there's a lot of communication back and forth, but that I think is super helpful, not just for me, but for the students, because they know that I'm there for them and kind of keeping an eye on their progress. Okay, now on the flip side, I also have students who prefer to go at a different pace. They want to take their time, like based on your question, you want to self-study because you have other things to do. That's totally fine too. So then we turn off the 16-week program, and then you can go at your own pace. But I do ask that my students who go at their own pace, that as they complete the assignments, because they can't skip that, as they complete them, to send them those to me so that I can review their progress. So that's the compromise that I have with those students who want to go at their own pace. So Nick, if that answers your question, yes, you can go at your own pace. All I ask is that you turn in your assignments to me as you complete them, whenever that is. and then that way I can keep track of your progress. And for the students who complete all their assignments in my program, man, the pass rates are above 90%. January, February of last year, I had the first 100% pass rate. And that's calculated by taking all the students who completed the program and took their exam, and they all passed. And the reason why is because the framework of the academy works, which includes assignments. So that's why when I have students who want to go at their own pace, it's totally cool, but I do ask them to complete the assignments, because at the end of the day, all that work is going to pay off in the end. That answers your question. Let's see, what other questions do we have here? Let me take a quick sip real quick. I'm on fire, guys. This is fantastic. I'm loving it. I hope you guys are getting a lot of value out of this. Like I said, I'm here every Friday. If you're listening from the podcast, definitely make sure to subscribe to one of my social media channels so that you get notified when we go live. Otherwise, you'll be listening to a recording. But I'm sure there's a lot of value in it too, because all the questions that I'm getting asked right now, I know that many of you who are listening have those same questions. All right, let's see. Let's go to Instagram real quick. Rini, thank you, Rini, for your question. She's asking, when is your next class? The beauty of the academy is that it starts as soon as you enroll, whenever you want. If you enroll today, your program starts tomorrow. If you enroll a week from now, then your program starts the day after you enroll. So whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and do that. I'll be happy to coach you with my team. And we're all CMAs. This is all we do, guys. We don't do CPA. We don't do CIA. We don't do CFA or any other program, any other exam. We just focus on the CMA exam, and that's it. Because that's how we know we'll be able to help our students get the most out of it and pass their exams on their first try. So that's why we focus just on one exam. And in the team, it's 3 of us, as far as CMAs go, is myself, and I have 2 other CMAs on staff who assist with student questions. So you are getting help from only CMAs. Then I have support staff that handle orders and that kind of thing. But for CMA, all 3 CMAs. So yes, you can start whenever you want, Rini. Another question here from Tath. Tath is asking, how do you find jobs abroad after passing the CMA? Let's see. That's a great question, Thad. Great question. So I had the same question the other night. And if you want to find a job abroad after passing the CMA exam, I'm assuming you are not in the United States, but please let me know. And I assume that because those type of questions tend to come from professionals who don't live in the States, but who want to move here. And they're asking if the CMA is a way to get like a work visa of some job here. So I answered this last time, but I'll answer it again because obviously you were not in the previous call. And this, again, full disclaimer, I'm not an immigration attorney. So please, whatever decision you or anyone else listening to this or watching this plans to take regarding this topic, consult with an immigration attorney. That's the best way to go. Okay, full disclaimer. But I'll give you my 2 cents and what I think could be a good approach to be able to get a job abroad eventually. First is that to get a job directly from another country into the United States, the company that's doing the hiring, so for example, as an example, let's talk about Sony. Okay, Sony has a branch here in the States, and let's say that branch is hiring for CMAs. They're looking for CMAs to hire. And is someone who is in different company has to prove to the government that they've been looking for CMAs within the United States. And because they could not find one, they had to go and hire someone from outside the country. Okay, that's my understanding how companies are able to sponsor work visas for people coming into the United States to work. Now, that is going to be a challenge because there are CMAs in the States. So it's a tall order for companies to prove that. So what I suggest you do instead is to look for jobs in international companies, let's say Sony again, who has a branch in your country, wherever that is, or in your city, wherever that outside the United States. Apply for a job there that is obviously related to the CMA, like management accounting, accounting and finance. Get there, so get your foot in the door, and then that way you are in the Sony ecosystem, right? So maybe down the road, the Sony branch in the United States is looking for a CMA, and they will look internally, and since you already are an employee of Sony, could be an easy transition to bring you over to the States. Okay, so that's the approach I would suggest. Obviously, like I said, I'm not an immigration attorney, so I would ask you guys to please consult with an immigration attorney if you decide to seriously look into moving to another country or the United States. Okay, but that's the approach I would say. Look for an international company in your country, in your city, and try to get in there. So that will help you move down the road. It's a long-term plan, but you have a better shot at that plan than jumping through that straight into the U.S. That's a bit more difficult. But that's a great question. I hope that answered it. If not, let me know it. Whew, we have a lot of questions, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. It's 12:30 p.m., so we are 30 minutes into the call. Let's see. There's so many questions. This is great, guys. Here's a great question from Wasim. Hey, Wasim, thank you for hanging out and for your question. So Wasim is asking if the CMA can help him start a professional career. He is 36 years old. Yes, it absolutely can. It's important that you are aware, and everyone else, that passing the CMA exam is only one prerequisite to get officially certified, to earn your CMA. You also have to meet an education requirement, which is a bachelor's degree but you don't have to have neither to pass the exam. In other words, you can pass the exam and then later get your bachelor's and your work experience. You have up to 7 years after passing the exam to meet those requirements. If you don't meet those requirements after 7 years, then you will have to retake the exams again. So there's like a window. But 7 years is a very long time, right? So it would be really hard to believe that someone is not able to do that. Right now, we have like college students in their sophomore or senior year that are studying for the CMA exam so that when they graduate, they have their bachelor's and they have already passed the 2 CMA exams. I think it's a fantastic plan because they, in a sense, are ahead of the game already. Now they have the degree, they have the knowledge of a management accountant. So now it comes down to work experience, pass the exams, and show that they're able to land jobs a little bit easier than those with only a bachelor's degree. So Wasim, to answer your question, if you have those requirements, you're working towards that, that's great. The CMA will definitely help you make a pivot in your career into accounting if that's what your plan is. It sounds like it is. So then the CMA will definitely help you with that, no doubt. Let's see. Here's another question. I don't know your name. It says Facebook user. But it says, how many questions should we solve from each chapter? Solve as many as you need to feel like you know how many it's about until you feel comfortable with the material you're learning. That's the key. Let's see. Oh, CMA registration. Thank you, Mohammed, for your question. He's asking, does the CMA registration differ from country to country? No, the CMA registration is the same. You all have to go through IMA to get your registration and your membership. So it's the same across the board. I don't believe it's different in any country. When it comes, okay, here's another question. So when it comes to review courses, there are so many out there, right? I know that sometimes it's hard to choose. You have Wiley, Gleim, you got My Academy, and others. Understand is that the material, the subject matter is the same across the board. We are all covering the same subject matter that you'll be tested on the exam, okay? So it's not about which material is better, it's about your learning style and the type of learner that you are. If you need hand-holding, if you tend to procrastinate a lot and just leave projects to the side, if you need accountability, then a self-study program is not for you. They can have the best material in the world, but it won't matter because it doesn't fit your learning style. If you have to have a live instructor in front of you teaching you the subject matter, if you need to have that, then a self-study program does not work, right? So you have to figure out how you study best, how you learn best, rather, and then choose a program that fits the bill. That's the perfect combo that will help you pass the exam, okay? So don't get deviated too much about which one is better, which one is worse, or whatever. Look at it from what are they offering, and does that fit my learning style? If it does, great. If it doesn't, keep looking. That's how I would look at the different materials. Ponai. Hi, Ponai. Thanks for joining. Her question is, how much is the CMA exam fee? It's $450 per part. $450 per part. And you don't have to pay for that right away. So there are several fees that you will have to pay before taking your exam. And it can get a little confusing. You have your IMA membership, then you got to pay for the CMA entrance fee, and then you got to pay for the actual exam registration. So you got 3 fees you got to pay to the IMA. It's not required. You can pay for your IMA membership first, then, and I suggest you do that as soon as you start your test prep. Why? Because with your IMA membership, there are benefits that come with it. One, you can network with CMAs in your local chapters, magazines, a lot of free resources that the IMA provides to its members. So there are a lot of benefits. So I encourage people to get their IMA membership at the very beginning of their review program. That way you can, get the benefit of that membership. When you are halfway through your program, whoever you're using, doesn't matter. When you are halfway through your program, or if you are self-studying, then you don't have a program. You're doing it by yourself. So if this is you, once you hit your textbook, once you study half of it, your halfway point. That's your halfway point. At that point, then you can go and pay for your CMA entrance fee and also for your exam registration. Because then at that point, you'll have a good idea how long it's going to take you to finish the rest of your textbook and take your exam. I've seen so many people get very excited at the very beginning. They pay for the IMA membership, CMA entrance fee, and they register for their exam without really knowing how hard it's going to be. So they're optimistic, which is great. I love that. But the problem is that as they start studying, they realize how hard it is and that there's no way they're going to meet their exam date. So what happens a lot is either they fail the exam because they just didn't have enough time to prepare, or they have to postpone it to the next exam window. But as we know, you can't postpone to a different exam window fee, and you got to pay for it again for the new exam window. So to prevent that happening, that's why I suggest to pay for the IMA membership first. Once you're halfway through your program or your study book, then you can have a really more educated estimate as to when you finish the rest and be able to take your exam. So A, you have enough time to study and finish your program, and B, you won't have to lose that money and pay for it again for a different exam window. Okay, so that's what I would, say about that. Facebook user has another question. Thank you. He or she is asking which study materials you are using in your classes. How much the cost for both parts. So the material in CMA Exam Academy is ours. We have built it. We've written our textbooks with our team of CMAs and a team on in part 2. All the video lectures are through me. Our online test bank and our questions are ours. So it's our own material that we're using. And our students are passing their exams, like I said, at a rate of 90% plus in each exam window. So we know the material works and is effective. Our textbooks are not like extremely thick, because I've seen textbooks that are just full of jargon and they have way too much information that is not necessary for the exam. So when we wrote our textbooks, I made sure that they were written in a straightforward manner, easy to understand, no jargon, because I know that this is a global designation. It's not just for the United States. So because English is the second language for many, then I wanted to make sure that our textbooks were going to be easy understood by everybody. So that was the approach that we took, and we're happy to report others that are out there. Oh, and how much it is? Right now, it's $7.97 per part or $13.94 for both parts. So you save money if you enroll in both parts. Here we have another question. Let me have another sip of my coffee real quick, if you guys don't mind. So how is this, guys? Is this helpful? Give me a thumbs up, please. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, however you feel about it. I just want to know how you guys are feeling about this. Oops. All right, so let's go back to the chat. Oh, here's another question. How long did it take you, so me, Nathan, personally to pass, if you don't mind me asking? I don't mind you asking at all. It took me 3 months to pass part 1, and it took me another 3 months to pass part 2. So a total of 6 months. So when I built my academy, I built it with that time frame. It was the perfect amount, because it wasn't too much and it wasn't too little. It was just the right amount to prepare. Because if you guys, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but knowledge retention, in other words, how much you can remember, it becomes an issue the longer you study. When I was, excuse me, I'm so sorry guys, excuse me. When I was blogging about the CMA, I would get emails from people and they would tell me that they were studying for 6, 7, sometimes 8 months for one exam. And obviously that is just way too long, because knowledge retention is an issue. It's hard to remember everything you've studied for like 4 months ago, let alone 8 months ago. So 20 exam, more content has been added. It has been changed a little bit. So now it's 4 months. That's the perfect amount to study for each part in order to pass the exam. Pune, you're welcome. All right, let me go back to Instagram and see what's going on over here. Here we have another question. Does High Living 4 theme? Does the CMA test bank on your website on cmaexamacademy.com come with the comprehensive review course combo? Yes, our complete program includes test bank, textbooks, coaching support, video lectures, formula guides, audio lectures, a community of candidates and CMAs who are studying for the exam as well. Okay, so, and we have weekly coaching calls. So accountability. So the complete program, that's why it's called complete. It has everything that you'll need to pass the exam. You won't need to purchase other material. You don't have to get anything else. That's all you're going to need in order to pass. Great question. All right. I love all the thumbs up. Thank you very much. Great. Eric is asking a question on Instagram. Great question, Eric. How difficult is the CMA exam compared to the CPA exam? Or are they not comparable? So there's overlap for sure. There's overlap in the topics from both exams, because both are accounting, right? So you will find an overlap, but because they're geared for different types of work, one is more in taxation, audit, compliance, CMA is more on strategy, decision-making, it's just quite different. So which one is easier than the other or more difficult than the other? It depends. If you're more inclined to taxes because you may like it, then the CPA will be in quotes an easier exam, just because you are predisposed to absorb that information because you are interested in it. Now, if you were not interested in managerial accounting, like the kind of thing, if you want to go for the CMA, it's going to be a little more difficult because it's going to be an uphill battle for you because you're not as interested. So it really comes down to what is it that you like and what is it that you want to learn. But there definitely is overlap between CPA and CMA exam for sure. We have another question right here. Will the industry consider CMA as good as the CPA license for corporate accountant jobs based on your experience? Great question. I think that the CMA is different. The CPA is a license. It's a state-issued license, right? That's how only CPAs can sign off on tax returns. They're the ones who do all the audits, the compliance, and want forensic accounting and that kind of thing. CMAs, on the other hand, are more in the management accounting aspect of running the business. So they're different. Now, for corporate accounting jobs, both are great. The CPAs are fantastic at this, CMAs as well. If you're looking for into management accounting, obviously the CMA's focus is on managerial accounting, CFO, controller, those type of roles. So I think the CMA provides a candidate with a wider skill set for that kind of job. Now, remember, if you work in public accounting, the CPA obviously is one that will get you farther because it's all about stock marketing, taxes, and that kind of thing. Oh, sorry guys, something's happening with my Instagram. Ooh. I hope that we can connect again. Are we disconnected? Oh no, we're okay. We're back. There was something going on there. I wasn't sure what was happening. Okay. All right. So I hope that answers that question. It really depends which industry you want to work in, what type of role you want to have. But corporate accounting, CMA definitely is geared for that. Okay. Do we have any other questions? We are connected. Hey, Susan, you said no? No to what exactly? Please let me know. Oh, we are connected, Susan. Great. Fantastic. Here we have a question on Instagram. Do you have an opinion on studying the subparts not in order, or do you suggest studying in parts like A through F, like in the textbook? Great question. This is from one of these nights. I like that. So good question. In my program, I ask my students to just follow that order. There's really no reason to skip around. If you are self-studying, then you have more flexibility. You may go for topics that interest you the most. But if you plan to do that, then my suggestion, Mr. Knight, I'm going to call you Mr. Knight. My suggestion, Mr. Knight, is to study sections, not topics. So don't study topic 2 from section F and then jump to topic 1 in section A. That's going to be a little too much. So go with section F first as an example, then study the entire section, and then move on to a different section. If you do it that way, it's fine. I mean, no harm, no foul. But I don't know. I like things in order. So my academy, and I ask my students to follow just the order of the textbook, A through F. I hope that answers the question. Let me know if it doesn't, though. But yeah, but definitely go by sections if you plan to skip around. That's fine. Here we have another question from another Facebook user. How do you manage schedule? Oh, how do you manage your schedule, your study schedule while working? Okay, so how do you manage your schedule while working? So like I said, most people studying for the exam work full time, right? So it's important to feel the most alert to be able to read the textbook and study. If you are a morning person, then my suggestion is to wake up maybe an hour before work or before you normally wake up and spend that hour studying, because then your brain will absorb more of it, right? It's at its prime. If you're more of a night owl, then study at night after work. You got to see what works for you. Right now, most of us are working and from home. We live and work from home. We're not going anywhere, so there's no commute. So take advantage of that. If your commute to work used to be 30 minutes, then wake up an hour before, like you normally would, and add those 30 minutes. So you'll be studying an hour and a half. If your commute was 2 hours or an hour, then add that to your morning, and then take the time to study. If you break it out, cramming on the weekends only, or cramming on a couple nights of the week, is just not going to work for you. You're going to feel burnt out, and when you come back to study, you're going to forget what you studied before, because you're studying once or twice a week, and that's it. My recommendation is to break it out throughout the week. So even if you did only 1 hour a day, only 1 hour, if that's all you could do, if that's all you could manage, that's perfect. That's great. Because that means that Monday through Friday, you will have studied for 5 hours. And that's going to build, it's going to compound, right? So the next week, you start another 5 hours, and you start gaining momentum. And then that hour becomes an hour and 15 minutes. And maybe becomes an hour and 30 minutes. Maybe becomes an hour in the evening. It's going to take a life of its own. So if you're having a hard time managing work and study schedule, try to get just 1 hour out of your schedule just for the CMA. Just 1 hour. And once you're done with that hour, just get up, get off your seat, and don't feel guilty about it, about not studying longer. Just, you committed to 1 hour, that's fine. Start there. But start the process. And you will see, because 1, you're going to start gaining momentum, and 2, the material is very interesting. I mean, the CMA, to pass the CMA exam, you're learning a lot of advanced concepts in management accounting. It's really good content. So I think that you will enjoy the material, and because you are enjoying it, that hour is going to turn into maybe 2 hours or an hour and a half. But I would say start with 1 hour. So I hope that was helpful, Facebook user. I wish I could know you guys' names. All right, so let me go to Instagram and see if there are any comments there. All right, Mr. Knight, great. He says, thanks. Just know the financials and others pretty well, so just curious. All right, no problem. Thank you today. I appreciate it. I'm gonna have a little coffee. Okay. All right, so here we have another question. This is a great question from Ahmed. I'll put it on the screen. If I am 39 years old, does the CMA give me an opportunity to shift my career? So you want to pivot. What do you do now? I'm not sure. But what's great about the CMA is that it allows people to pivot into accounting or management accounting. And I think that's one of the reasons that your bachelor's degree doesn't have to be in accounting. I think that's why the IMA has allowed that, because they understand that there are people in different fields, in different line of work, that they want to pivot and work in accounting, in management accounting. So as long as you have a bachelor's degree, then it's game. you're good to go. And you're only 39, Ahmed. I mean, you're just 39. I'm assuming you're probably going to be in the workforce for another 25 years, right? So 25 years is a very long time. Plenty of time to study for your CMA. It will take you about 8-9 months to finish both exams. Assuming you have the education requirement and whatnot, that's done. And then you have 7 years to get work experience to get officially certified. It's totally doable. You're still young, 39, you're still very young. If you were 65 or if you were 62, maybe a different story, but then also depends because now people are staying in the workforce a lot longer. We have people that are 68, 69 still working. So if you're 60 and you want to get your certification because you plan to work for another 10 years, then I think it's worth it. If I was in their shoes, I would say, yeah, of course. I get my CMA, better pay, right, and get more responsibilities. So I would have a more fulfilling career. So it makes sense. By 39, you're still very young, Ahmed. You can definitely still make a pivot in your career if you want to. Let's go back to Instagram. Here's another question and says, this may be an obvious question. No, it's all good. No question is obvious. It's good to ask as many questions as you like. But does the test bank you sell come from the IMA? So there are exam retired questions that the IMA releases, and that is given to all course providers, to like myself, to the Academy, Wiley, and others. So those retired questions you will find in every single test bank. Now, from those questions, wrote new questions. Sometimes even more difficult questions because, when you go to your exam, you will have very tough questions. So we want to make it tough in the test bank to help you prepare for the exam. The test bank itself, the software, no, that's ours. It's not from the IMA. The interface is very similar to the real exam. So that way, when you use it, you'll be able to get familiar with the format of the exam so that when you show up to your exam, it's not something completely different, but you're very familiar with it and it becomes easier to take your exam. Great question. Great question. All right. Which part would you recommend first? So we have another question. Thank you, Facebook user. I would say, and I think I answered this question at the very start of the call. So if your bachelor's is in accounting, go ahead and start with part 1. If you majored in finance or economics, go with part 2. So that's how I would suggest you go about it. If you're still not sure, what I suggest you do is to look at both parts, look at the content outline, and see which one is the most interesting to you. Whichever it is, go with that one. It really doesn't matter which part you start with. What matters is which one are you most interested in, because then that will help you gain momentum and help you pass the exam, and that in itself will help you pass the second exam, if it's either part 1 or part 2, okay? So that's what I would suggest you do. Look at both content outlines and determine which one is the most interesting, and go with that one. Question. Hi, Nathan. Hey, Mohammed. His question is, the IMA has extended the exam window, so how many times can we give the exam in the upcoming window, like until July? Okay, so for those of you who may not be aware, the exam window has been extended and goes from May 1st to July 31st, and the last exam window starts on August 1st and ends on October 31st. So it's a total of 6 months, but they are 2 distinct exam windows. It's not one consecutive exam window. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you, Mohammed, in your example, if you failed your exam during the May-July exam window, you cannot retake it in that exam window. You have to wait for the August-October exam window. Does that make sense? So that rule, I hope that answers your question, but if not, please let me know. But I think that's what you were asking. All right, let's go back to Instagram. Let's see what's happening here. You are very welcome, Living for Theme. It's my pleasure. Thank you for tuning in and for your questions. All right, it's almost 1 p.m. This has been a really good live stream. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I hope that you're finding this valuable. I'm super happy to hang out with you and provide value for sure. I may try a different time. I may try going back live tonight for people who are in a different time zone, but I think this time zone worked out pretty well. Okay. Before I leave, call now. Before I go, don't forget to download your exam cheat sheet. The link is going to be above or below this video. And just click on it, enter your email, and will be sent to your email right away, to your inbox. Okay? And have a great Friday, everybody. Have a great weekend. And don't forget that if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me or catch you on the next live stream, and we'll hang out again. Here we have a question. So I'll answer a couple more questions, but then I'll have to wrap it up. Are you still working in the accounting industry, or do you do CMA Coach full time? So I run CMA Exam Academy and CMACoach.com, both websites. And I've been doing that for about 7 years now. And I've helped tens of thousands over those years. And I'm so proud and happy to have been able to assist. I do also do consulting work as a management accountant on the side sometimes. So I still work in the accounting industry for sure. Okay, it looks like the Instagram feed ended. So I'll wrap it up over here. Okay, so another question from Abd is, how long will it take for an average finance background to study one part? It depends how many hours you can study every day. If you can study 15 hours a day, 15 hours a week, then probably it will take you about 4 months to study for one part. If you can study full time, then obviously you can study probably 2 or 3 months at the most. Another question here, and this is the last one that I'll cover today. It's every time when I solve in Gleim Simulator, it takes so much time to comprehend and solve. It's easy to do in Excel, but on paper, it takes time. How to manage it? Yes, Mohammed, it takes time to do it in the simulator. And I think it's important that people use simulators, just like that one or the one in my academy, because the real exam is computerized. So you have to learn how to use it and be fast at it. The best way to do this is to not use Excel, even though it's tempting, but don't use it. Use pen and paper. Do that first, and then when you solve the equation, then plug it into the simulator. But try not to use Excel. Okay, don't get used to that habit because that in your real exam. And if you get used to using it, it's going to be a big handicap during your actual exam because you won't have that. And yes, during at the exam center, Prometric Center, you will be provided with paper and a pencil, so you don't have to bring it with you. No, that will be provided to you there. Great question. All right. Well, thanks everybody. I was super happy to hang out with you for an hour. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys next Friday. I may hop and do a live stream randomly during the week, but for sure, I'll be here next Friday between 12 and 1 p.m. Pacific. Thanks everybody. Take care. Bye.